Live from YMSL Studios, welcome to the Week 6 edition of the DougLESS Report. I'm your host, Bobby Maravi, with very special in-studio guests, back by popular demand, or nobody else wanted to come, one or the other.
Or someone threw me out of the house and I had nowhere else to go. So,
Michael Sabah, we welcome you back.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure here.
Always great to have you in studio with your insight. And Michael, we're coming down to the last 3 weeks of the regular season, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And really, except for two teams who technically are not mathematically eliminated, but they need a major miracle from the man upstairs or Moses, one or the other, to get and probably have to run the table, both teams, to even have a shot. But other than that, you have 6 teams that are separated by about a game and a half. So it's
Unbelievable.
It's going to be unbelievable, and probably a very good team might be knocked out. When it's all said and done.
I believe we're talking about the old tortoises that I swept into this corner.
You and everybody else.
But I physically pushed the turtle into the corner.
Yeah.
And, that's very surprising. We played them the first week of the season. No, actually, we swept them, I think, the third week. But they were a very tough team. They were not bad. They got Mikey Shallon pitching, who was having a good season. Maybe they just not hitting.
Yeah.
Eddie Rishti, who, by the way, I still have the text telling me he didn't want to be on the Whiplash organization. Look where he is now at SeaWorld with the rest of the dead turtles. And, but you know what? Like you said, you can't predict which teams are going to be in the race and which teams aren't. And right now, they don't got it.
Yeah. I mean, everybody around the league, the media also was very high on that team coming out of the gate.
Really?
Great pitcher, solid pitcher, great defense.
Great defense.
But I really, the question mark we had was there's no really big bats, and really they're struggling to score any type of runs.
Well, this happens to be a pitcher's year. I think the last couple of years it's back and forth, but I guess the two top pitchers today are Saka and Hannon. And, it's a pitcher's year, and if you don't have a good pitcher and you don't score runs, you're going to be at the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Mikey's pitching very, very good, so he's really not the cause. And but like you said, they're probably going to have to run the table, but they got to, some guys really have to step up. They're averaging 2-3 runs a game. It's just not going to cut it.
You know what? I'm not so sure. Looking at that team, they have the big threat.
Right.
They have a lot of great singles, doubles hitters, but nobody that could just blast the game open. So without that key guy, it's going to be very hard. But then again, look at the second team, which is Alley. Not surprised where they are, but they still have Alley. They got Soley. They got Jackie Towell. They got a very good lineup. We played them this week, and we're going to
start. We're going to start with your game, as a matter of fact. We have you here. You talk about Alley. He didn't have his pitcher this week, Ralph Sutton. I thought he should have started game one. I mean, I think he should have started. He's pitched in the past. He's a very tough pitcher. They had Norwood, I believe, taking Brackett's place for the week, so I thought he could have filled it short. But he decided to go with Rishti in game one. So why don't you tell us a little about what happened?
Rishti did get off to a very good start. I mean, he was pitching, not too many hits right away from us, and they started hitting, and it wasn't fluke hits. Abraham Haber hit a shot to the tree, hit the tree on a fly. Luckily, we negotiated it down to a double, and they just got a couple of key hits, and before we knew it, once again, we were in the hole 6 runs. Rishti then kind of came in thinking I could coast a few innings and just give us the meatballs, and we tore him to shreds. Within a couple of innings, it was a game. It was a 6-all game, and Ali started having a panic attack, screaming, cursing. There was a few errors, a couple of misplays on his team, And, you know, Henry then gets up with a huge situation, bases loaded, and Ali just put one in there, and Henry gave one of his patented left field bombs over everyone, and for a grand slam, and we just took them totally out of the game. And before you know it, it was 10-6. We tacked on another run. I believe we ended off at 11-6.
Well, the difference with the A team and the Turtles is that they could put up some runs. I mean, they are one of the top run-producing teams in the league, but you know they have a problem. It's not, you know, preventing guys from scoring. You know, I mean, they're like, the defense is not great. You know, the pitching is not good either. So it's going to be hard pressed for them to get, you know, to run the table now. And their bye is the last week of the year, so they really only got 4 games left to probably have to go 4-0 and see if.
Yeah, I think we kind of could have put Ali out of his misery this week. We had our chances, and the second game, I mean, you know, they had a early lead. Again, we came back. My man Seton hit a game-tying homer off Ali. I believe it was in the 6th. So at that point, it was 3-2. Seton homer to left to make it 3-all. And then in the 7th, we got to the top 7. We went down relatively quick. Bottom 7, Hannon had a couple of key walks to the 8 and 9 batters. And you know what happens when you walk guys in this league?
Yeah.
They came around, and we had it to the point where the game was on the line, bases loaded, 2 outs, and 1 out, and it was, I believe it was Adam Marshall up. He hit a soft line drive to left for the out, and the left fielder, instead of going straight home with the ball, kind of hesitated a little and threw it to third soft. So he took off, and Morris Casson made a throw to the plate, and it just wasn't in time, and they won on a walk-off.
Yeah, who was running at third?
I think it was Asher's cousin, Braha. They kind of resembled each other a little. Same type of afro, same skin tone, same demeanor.
But why did he throw it to the? I don't understand why he threw it to the cutoff guy.
Because I think
he didn't think the guy was running.
I didn't think the runner.
It was pretty shallow from what I hear.
Yeah, it was a very shallow. I mean, it should have. They should have. The pitcher should have been waiting in the middle of the baseline and took that throw, but he did not, and that was the end of it. And it was it was bad.
So you could have sweep, and Ali was fortunate. Otherwise, he really would have been better.
Yeah, he would have been done. And I did speak to him multiple times since then, and he swears he's winning the next 4 games. So,
well, interesting. Now, Ralph Sutton comes back. Is he going back to his natural position, shortstop, or is he might take the ball? You know?
No, I think after Henry hit that granny, I don't think Ali. I mean, Ali was going nuts the whole day. He looked a little like Mount Savon. Guys were making errors. We were getting hits. He was cursing, screaming, telling everyone how much he has to do with everything. Pitch, hit, field, dive. I mean, but the truth is that's why he's the #1 pick. And he's supposed to do all those things. But he'll be going back to shortstop.
He said he could pitch and actually catch a fly ball in center field.
You know what? 10 years ago, I think he probably could. Today, the guy, he could probably pitch and make it back to second.
So they really kept their slim hopes alive. And you guys solidified the #2, second, stayed in second place.
You know what? I'm going to talk about my team a little for a second here.
First of all, it's probably the first time in 4 weeks you had a full team.
First time in a long time we had a full team. But honestly, and I told my team this, we have a really great team, but we're underachieving. We find ourselves down basically every first game to come back big and not just squeak by 7-6.
A lot of 5-run deficits.
Right, but we're coming back from a 6-run deficit to score 11. So to show you the potential we have, it's a great lineup. However, we're coming out dead flat the second game, and every one of our games in the second game is a one-run game, and I believe we lost, out of the 4 games we lost, by 1 run, 3 of them were a walk-off in the 7th. So it could have went either way. We didn't have the hunger we had the first game. I don't want to sit here and say we should be 9-1 because that's, you know, a little crazy.
Yeah.
But we probably could have took 2 of those games, and we could be 8-2.
Right.
You know, that's how it should look. But nevertheless, we're here, we're in it, and we got to keep playing.
Really, your team really has been impressive. You have a very good lineup, and the defense has been pretty good for the most part, right?
Yeah, no, the defense has been great. Hannon's pitching unbelievable, keeping us in every single game.
Leads the league in strikeouts, by the way.
Leads the league in strikeouts, and I hate to say it, I just don't feel like we're hitting so great in the second games. None of us are setting the world on fire at the plate this year. I mean, honestly, I think we're probably in the averaging in the high 3s, maybe mid 4s, but no.
So you got some big boppers in the lineup.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if we could look at the stats, we'd see, but
that's why we don't want people to.
All right, we don't want to get depressed.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
we don't want people.
We'd rather just keep it an unknown and hope for the best.
Right, I can tell people you're hitting 50, and it's.
All right, and I would go along with it.
So say we have the league leading hitter right next to us. So.
Thank you for having me.
So you guys now pretty much, but you're really bunched up with the other 5 teams. Really, the way it is now, I mean, any team that really gets swept now could really cause a lot of damage to itself. So it's, and again, 3 out of 4 games matchups will split this week. So it's, you know, it's really going to be the next 3 weeks. Going to be very interesting. Let's shoot over to Memorial 1, where we had the Angels of Eddie Michon versus Dayton Sack and Leonard Skinner. Now, Michon again is missing a couple of key guys. Louis Franco and Wasser, and again the big story. We all thought Moses was going to return this week. He had he had to go to Hartson for Shavuot, and he was going to come back, but he didn't. But he's still injured, and Bawabe pitched.
He's shining the golden calf, as they say.
Now, Bawabe, same old story now. This is really an amazing thing. The guy's coming off a World Series victory, taking over for that team last year, and struggling mightily to find the strike zone this year. It's a huge problem.
I think a case like that, it just shows how important the chemistry of a team is. You could get a World Series winning pitcher one year because he had the right chemistry on that team, and go to a team which could be equally as good. And I believe some of those guys were in the World Series against the winning team, and it could mean nothing. And he could just go back to his old self. Or Bawabe could be thinking about Tole and Tahina on his Sundays rather than baseball, and be banking on his past glory and said, I did it already. I don't need to.
I don't know what the story is. It's a mental thing at this point. My big thing is Moses. Really, he had a chance this year. He got a job. Somebody believed in him, gave him a full-time job, and he cannot deliver again. Once again, the same old story. You had him a couple of years ago. He got hurt. It's, at his age, it takes him, weeks or months to get back. It's not. It's a big problem.
I believe there's a Balco office opening in Shrewsbury. They specialize in treating gigantic men such as Moses Eastman. And, the steroids is really there for the healing process to speed it up.
Right.
He should talk to our old friend Victor Conti, and maybe he can get back.
Steroids OU also, right?
Yes, I believe they had the OU.
They dipped the syringe. No?
Right.
Good. So. But so anyway, but ironically, they got out to 5-0 lead right off the bat. And we know we talk about the Angels lineup all the time. Even Watts are missing. It's a scary lineup, 1 through 10. So they jumped off 80 seconds quickly. Got out to the lead, but the same old story. Milwaukee just lost everything, walked about 7, 8 guys, and they got back in the game in a hurry and lost. And I'm a little surprised that Eddie Bichon didn't give the ball to Nemi at that point. He pitched himself. Eddie, I thought Nemi might have been a little better chance. I mean, he's pitched in the past, and I think he would have been able to put out the fire maybe.
Well, you're right. I mean, it's sort of a little like what happened in my game. The captain, the star of the team, maybe tries to take too much on his shoulders and say, I'm the only one that could do this, and they kind of lose faith in the other guys on the team. Ali took out Rishdi, even though he had a lead.
Right.
He came in, struck a couple guys out, but then gave up a big grand slam. Right. Michon probably thought that he was the only guy that could come in and put out the fire, and then gives up some big hits.
He just thought he could just lob it in there. The defense
doesn't work that way anymore. Right?
No, you got to, just and it really messes up the rest of the defense. So they were fortunate to get a win. For the 6th consecutive week, they split. So they're right again at 6-6. Again, but the problem is now, if there's no Moses the rest of the year. He claims he's going to come back after the bye week on the 14th, but who knows? I don't see that team making the playoffs if Moses doesn't come back, because I just.
Well, I mean, if they split the rest of the way.
Yeah, but you look at the teams that are in the. You have A.B. Saka, probably the best, postseason pitcher around, the late season play. You got other pitchers: Amaya Safdie, Ralph Hannon. Who else? Well, you have some teams that are Max Yadid. So I mean, there's all teams that are bunched up with good pitchers. So unless he finds his groove, I don't even know if he's going to get the ball back a lot. It's going to be interesting to see what Eddie Bichon does. But they can definitely score runs, but it might not be good enough.
You got to have a combination of all three this year. It shows in the standings. I'll be the first one to tell you that my team, even though 6-4, we're right in the bunch, and we should have a better record. Right. We're not putting up crazy runs. It's easy to say after 10 games when we start hitting, right, we're going to score, but that really didn't happen. Yeah, we scored 11 runs, but then we came back to only score 3. So without that big sweep, it's tough. And we do have the pitching. He's keeping us in every game. And our D seems to be pretty good.
Well, that's what it's going to be. If you make
so you need everything.
You got to have defense and pitching, finally hitting. So it's going to be interesting now to see what happens with that team. Let's shoot over now to the other side of town at Fireman's, and the big story on Fireman's East was who cares. Playing once again, what I also like to say, Sandy Powell's wife Jacqueline doing much better.
Great to hear. Recuperating
now. She's being transferred to NYU for rehab, so that's good news. I believe he's going to be returning this week. Him and his son. We didn't give that team too much of a chance, and lo and behold, they came in, and as I said, they beat the mighty Turtles over there. So
those poor Turtles.
Those Turtles probably were looking at it as a good opportunity to sweep this coming week.
That was probably their big shot to make a comeback. And unfortunately, every year, no matter what predictions are made, there's always going to be a team that falls to the back of the pack. And right now, it's them. And they couldn't live up to their hype. And even though the pitching was good, without the hitting and the fielding combo, this year you got to have all 3.
Right. But now it's interesting now with who cares. Maybe Salim Soda found his niche a little bit as a pitcher instead of the 1 game here, 1 game there. Maybe he's feeling a groove. that team is pretty good. Like when you all said and done with some good talent around it, so they can be pretty dangerous if they find a way to get in.
I felt that they had a very strong team from the beginning. On paper, I mean, what's the record is
6-5-4.
Okay, so they're right in the middle of it. Having 5 wins at this point of the season is a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it could be better, but the other teams, other than Saka, were only 1 game ahead of them. So, I believe we play them this week.
Yeah.
So, that should be a good matchup. But no, that's a team you don't want to. You definitely do not want to let them get the better of you.
Yeah.
I think they got a great lineup, veteran hitters all around, and we have to take advantage of their weak pitching.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Bavora now. He's been playing first base the last couple of weeks. So now with Sammy Tal coming back, and the Sun coming back, so it's in the outfield, so I don't know what position he's going to end up in. I don't think he's going to pitch, but...
well, they have catcher is open. Wasn't he a part-time catcher this year?
Catching.
Emulating his old friend, Mr. Bruce Wartman.
Yes.
His personal catcher for 25 years.
Yes, he taught him well. Let me just get back to I was just thinking about Leonard Skinner. Really, I don't know. I did, and I guess a lot of guys thought that it's probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league. But you got to give credit. 5-5, right in the mix, and a little scoring more runs than I thought they'd be able to. And again, with AB Saka, that's a dangerous, dangerous team if they get it somehow.
We played them. That was the week I was out. Again, another walk-off 2-1 loss we had in the 7th. Of course, I wasn't there for that. I was.
But your replacement Wally Pitt got a big game.
Yes, I love that. Comparison. When Garrett left, Pip came back, and that was great. And no, you know what? AB Saka is a premier pitcher, period. They still have Mo Shama. They still got Franco.
Yeah.
As the year goes on, I'm sure Franco's going to get better and better.
Jake Dweck playing great.
Jake Dweck. They got a solid team. Solid, and they're right in it.
Although they suffered a major injury this week. Not this week, but now it got worse. Elliot Mann suffered a hamstring injury several weeks ago. Now it's getting to the point you can't even get out and field and hit. So they got to decide what they're going to do in the next couple of weeks. But he's a key outfielder for that team.
Yeah, you can't have it's tough to take a big loss to a key player this late in the season.
Right.
Why don't you explain what the ruling is? I mean, would the captain of that team have an option to say, I can't live without him for the rest of
Yeah, well, that's
like,
what
I want to replace him for the season? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, well, they got to really weigh out and see how long the injury is. Like, if it's 4 or 5 weeks, in week 3, it's basically the rest of the year. So you got to say, I'm going to have to replace you. I can't afford to wait if it's a week or 2. But an injury like this, it's kind of hard to gauge how long it's going to take. So they have a decision to make. Like the Turtles replaced Jacob Cohen, broke his thumb or whatever, he dislocated, and now he's ready to come back. And they already replaced with Michael Richley. But so it's one of those things. You got to make a decision and see.
And the ruling is he cannot come back
once replaced, not come back. So we used to have a rule in the past: first and second round picks, if they miss at least 2 weeks, you could get a replacement. But we did away with that back a couple of years ago. So they're gonna. That's a major loss if they don't figure out to do it. So getting back to who cares. So now it's going to be interesting to see. Now they sort of handled 3 weeks without their captain, and so now he's coming back. It's going to be interesting to see how they react. How everybody steps up. Jordy was the interim captain, and
Jordy may not want to give up that position. It might be a big clash. They could say it would never happen, but you never know. Sammy's not the type to just let Jordy have the reins while he's there.
Yeah, I think he's going to step aside. But we'll see. So they're they're a team that might be cause for the fear coming weeks.
Well, I mean, well, I'll give you an update after we play them. So,
but as we mentioned, they do have a makeup game. The first week, Sammy's wife got ill. They didn't have enough to field the team, so that game is going to be made up on Friday, June 19th at 4:45 at Fireman's Field.
That's prime time.
That's prime time, and you're going up against Jeffrey Zach and Magical Mystery Tour.
Wow.
So, really, looking at that matchup, that's going to affect the rest of the 4 or 5 teams involved.
Oh yeah.
And then 2 days later is the final weekend of the season, so it should be very, very interesting with the standing room only crowd.
Yes, I believe the people will be shuffling in from all areas of the county right before Shabbat. Beautiful catered affair, I believe we're having at the Legend Seats of Firemen. So, yeah, please everyone come down and come see that.
Should be good. Now the final matchup at Fireman's West is the Rockford
Peaches.
Rockford Peaches against what they play that week?
The Kansas City Royals.
Oh, Maurice Haber's royalty. So yeah, this was a very interesting matchup. You had the Royals coming in at 500. The team really like the Angels. On paper, they were very, very strong, but they just seem to split every single week and can't find the mix. But they have a very strong lineup. And Max Shadid, has the lowest ERA in the league. It's very, very good. They have the biggest run differential in the league. So that team is, if they get into another team that could be very scary to deal with.
Definitely a very tough team. Again, played them, split with them, and kind of got lucky to get the split. And again, very good pitching, good defense, and good hitting. So definitely a tough team.
Malak with the league leading hitter at 700 almost.
Wow.
He's on the block.
They would die in a trade him, and that would have proved fatal if they got rid of him. They probably would not be in the position if they did get rid of him.
But or also Maurice playing very good first base. And this week, by the way, they played without Joe Eshko and Morris Harari. The whole left side of the infield were not there.
Wow. So who subbed in? Who played short?
Who played short is a very good question. Who's on? Oh, Malak played short.
Oh, doing it all.
Malak played short. So yeah,
Did they have a bachelor party?
Where did he go? Yeah, Joe Eshko getting married.
Yeah, was it local, the bachelor party? Because I heard they had a woman named Caitlin joining them, and everybody had a wonderful time with her this weekend. Unfortunately, older, ex-Olympian, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And they had just had a ball with her. So,
Caitlin Kardashian.
Yes, I believe that's what it was. A real gender bender. And, so good luck to them. And I'm happy they got to experience that side of the activity.
Yes. Morris Harari claims he picked her up on the first try. So,
much like a short hop at first base.
So Maurice, the first game, the Peaches won, and this is a big problem we're noticing with Meyer Safdie. He just loses stamina the second game, and just runs out of gas, gets dehydrated.
Yeah, it happened during our game. Look, he's I'll give the specs: 5'3", 320, red hair all over the place. Not cut out to be a top-notch pitcher in this league. However, he happens to always be able to be in the midst of things. So I happen to like the guy. I think he's a good pitcher. However, he's got to get the stamina up.
Yeah.
Not just for baseball, for his own health.
Oh, for sure. So that's going to be, obviously with the playoffs, be a problem.
Right. We're playing at 62 degrees when it's 88 and the sun's beating down on him.
Yeah, you know, that's something they got to be concerned with. I mean, he's very, very tough in the first game. And, I mean, there was some missiles coming off the bat in the second game. So it's definitely going to be something that's going to have to be addressed. And, you know, but again, there's right up with you, the Peaches 6-4.
Yeah, that was actually the team we played first. And I do want to bring up, because, again, I don't have the actual numbers, but I'm hearing that their main stars are not performing as well as expected.
Well, Gabe was actually in Tijuana. He was scouting, so he was not there this week.
Mm-hmm.
So a baddie. Well, you know, you remember at the draft they made a big blockbuster trade, really to get
these
two elite
two
players,
right.
and really had no you know, no middle round picks, which was the complete opposite of Max's thing. Max had no first round pick. Went
and stacked up later on the
round. So you know, listen, if it's going to be a problem. Jack and Batty and Carlos, not Carlos and Gabe aren't carrying it. They're not going to go far, because you look at the rest of the lineup. It's not nobody really
right
to fear.
The shocking thing is that they must be doing something right if Jack isn't hitting a big number and they're still at 6-4.
Well, but their defense is still incredible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you have that. You know, you get timely hitting, and I guess you know, you have the Turtles mixed in 1 week, so it always helps the pad.
Right. Yeah. So you could always use them as the average.
In the last 3 years with the Expos, they don't get swept ever. Like, I mean, it's just amazing. Really, they don't lose 2 in a week, so it's good. They bounce back, and if they find a way to get in, they'll be you know, another team to be reckoned with. They always play good. They don't beat themselves. But again, I guess you got to be some concern with Meyer's stamina. If they,
You know what? It's coming to, you know, the middle of June. Sooner than later, the days are going to be 90 degrees, just like they always are. That field, any of those fields, Fireman's or Memorial, in July when the playoffs are going on, it's like you could die out there.
The Memorial, you could literally die.
Right.
Memorial too. It's
Forget it.
102 with the wind chill.
Yeah.
How many teams now, when we talk about it, are pinching themselves for not making a play for Jackie Eshko at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean,
the Angels for sure come to mind right off the bat. I mean, that's a colossal mistake.
I played with him last year, and he was great. We ended up, I believe, 12-6, and it was his first year pitching. Any of these teams could have used him, not just because he's becoming a better pitcher, because he's an all-around athlete. He's a spark
competitor,
right? Yeah. And even at his age, he's still in better shape than 80% of the guys that are pitching today.
Right.
Plus, with the fact that they went with A.B. Saka as their main guy, they probably could have got a great hitter.
Yeah, I mean, the Angels were stacked offensively. They could, I guarantee you, Wasser would have got him, Eshko, or you know, they wouldn't have got Gamal, but you know, something along those lines, which is, you know, a great hitter. I mean, you know, that team needed the bats badly, so it might have been a good matchup. Who cares? Maybe they, you know, they could have used them. You know, but it's just interesting how now he's playing right field, as a matter of fact.
He was an excellent
center fielder.
Excellent center fielder back in the day. And, you know, he always stayed in shape, so he could definitely still play. He's a very solid leadoff man, pesky type of guy. You never want to have to face him when...
It creates a lot of havoc on the base.
Always, yeah. He's related to Mo Shama through marriage, so you got to assume that they're coming from the same stock, and you know, things like that are going to happen. But
well, maybe Mo Shama pulled his weight a little bit and kept him in that organization.
I believe Mo fought to have his services.
Yeah.
And
I think maybe Mo fought to maybe trade A.B. Saka instead.
Mo was willing to trade A.B. Saka. They were actually dying for Jimmy. And I don't know what happened. but Jimmy would have been a big deal on that team. But who knows if they'd be 5-5 with Eshko right now? Maybe it's because A.B. Sackett.
Yeah. I don't know how you can trade A.B. Sackett before he pitches a game.
All right.
To me, that whole thing did not make any sense.
No.
You could have got a good bat for Eshko and with a great pitcher, and they were 2-0 so they were right. They were 2-2. They had really nothing to fear. But let's start looking at next week's matchups, which is really, as we mentioned, coming into the final stretch.
Yeah.
Over at Memorial 1, we have Allie's A team versus Rockford Peaches, and so this is going to be really. We talked about Allie not needing to run the table at 4-8. Peaches pretty solid 6-4. I see Allie somehow finding a way to win this game. I think JT might step up a little bit. I think Meyer's a good cure for some bats that.
I see Norman watching this show saying one way or the other, we're going to have to split with this team. They are not going to be the team that allows Allie's team, who's kind of weak right now, to make a run for the playoffs. Because you know what? You don't want to face Allie's team in the playoffs either.
Right.
You wouldn't mind seeing them go down because when they have a full team, they're going to be strong too.
Right.
But I absolutely see a split here.
Yeah.
I think Allie's fighting for his life, but I don't think they have enough to sweep.
Yeah, I don't think either team does actually.
Right.
I think the Peaches don't have enough offense to really win 2 games, and they're hard. The A teams could score runs, but we mentioned they give up a lot, so we'll see. I think it's going to be a split.
I see a split, but I could also see Allie telling his team, we're facing Meyer. It's going to be hot. Let's kill him. And I could see them middle of their order, 3 through 5 or 6, just scoring a lot of runs this week.
Really, what really needs to happen is JT's got to be on base like 70% of the time. I mean, if he's on base,
he's the key to that whole team. I want to mention there was one guy who's hitting unbelievable on this team, and it's David Wishley.
But it's funny. He does that every year.
He does it every year. But,
40 hitter, 500.
Yep. This week we played him, and he destroyed Hannon. I mean, he hit shots in the gap. He hit a homer.
Yeah, he's got power.
Very solid shots. Places the ball to right, could go anywhere.
Actually, when Allie came in, he actually moved to third base, right? I believe.
Yeah, he went to third, and Solly went to short.
Yeah.
And
did they get the action?
Yeah, there was actually a couple errors over there, but I mean, I don't think much that caused anything, but it may have led to the bases loaded situation, and then.
I'm curious as to why they didn't put Norwood at short, or he was better second.
Yeah, Norwood's a Gold Glove second baseman, but he did absolutely
made a big
zero.
error. Allie went nuts with made a throw.
Oh yeah, he threw a routine ball. I think he threw out of play for no reason.
And the runner wasn't even going.
The runner was standing still, and he ended up scoring. And there was a couple errors up the middle, at shortstop, at second.
Allie doesn't have the patience.
Nah, he was going wild.
All right, here's a big matchup over. Still trying to decide between 2 and 3 to see the field conditions. Max Sutton with a bye week's Magical Mystery Tour against Maurice Haber's Royals. Wow, that's not a very good matchup for Maurice at this point. Fighting, but Magical Mystery Tour coming off a bye, so they, actually a double bye because they had Chet Walker before that, so they haven't played in 3 weeks. They can affect their timing a little bit. What do you think? I see another split. I think Magical Mystery Tour is going to be a little rusty. I think Maurice could win one of these games.
Yeah, I would think that Maurice could possibly come out and win game 1.
Yeah.
Saka might be a little cold.
Then I can see Saka taking a shutout.
And then I can see him shutting them down. But I absolutely don't see Haber getting swept.
No.
They have too much hitting, too much firepower, and this could be one of the great pitching matchups.
I was going to say, it's going to be 2 very low-scoring games.
Yeah.
Very. It's a great matchup.
This is the game of the week. Yeah, this is a nice game.
But again, Maurice at 5-5. No, 6-6 actually could could be in a rough spot if he gets swept. He's really got a.
But he could also put himself in a great spot if they sweep. I mean, he can't lose here unless he gets swept. If he splits, he's still right at the top of the pack. If he sweeps, he's in a great position going into the final week. But if he gets swept, depending on what a couple of the other teams do, it could be.
No, he'll be about himself.
Yeah, I don't see them getting swept.
No.
I see a split here all the way.
Those are classic games, by the way. It's going to be interesting. Over at Fireman's West, we have A.B. Saka's Leonard Skinner, I should say Jack Jamal and A.B. Saka versus the Turtles, and I think A.B. Saka is going to squish him deeper into the ground. I think it could be 2-10.
I could see a 2-1 game and a 1-0 game here.
Yeah.
I mean, both teams anemic at the plate, and but I could see. You know what? I just don't see the Turtles totally just letting this team beat the hell out of them.
Right.
I just don't see it. I'd see another split here. They don't want to be 2-10. Even if they're out, they don't want to go down as one of the worst teams in history. And they have too many good players to let that happen.
Right. It's ironic. We talk about the Turtles. I mean, their last 3 weeks are against. We just mentioned Leonard Skinner right in the mix. The following week, Mikey going up against Norman, and there's a lot of connection there with Peaches and the Turtles. And the best thing, I think, the final week of the year is the Turtles going up against Maurice Haber's Royals, and there's going to be a lot of fireworks.
Oh, forget it. Forget it. As it is, the blood between the two, they can't stomach each other. And Haber, that could mean the playoffs for him. And even if the Turtles are statistically out of it, Haber's the last guy they're going to want to see.
2-12, they might be at the field at 6 in the morning.
Right, exactly.
So the Turtles are going to have a lot to say the rest of the year about who gets in. And knowing the personalities of that team, Mikey, they're going to make sure they knock anybody out.
Right, yeah. They would love to be able to do that, but it's, again, you got to see what happens the next couple of weeks until that.
So I see Skinner winning 2 this week. But I can see a split not being that crazy. I don't think the Turtles have enough to sweep them, but we'll see. Now, the big matchup for you is at Fireman's East. Once again,
East is playground or not playground? All right.
Firehouse. Whiplash going to be an emotional return for Sandy Towell. Back to who cares. So you have your full team coming this week, or your hand has to leave early?
We do have a pitching complication. So
by the way, who is the backup pitcher?
I would rather not release that on the air at this point, because we're still seeing what Hannon could pull off to possibly not miss anything.
Well, Mavora's willing to pitch for you if you want.
A.B. Salem is available for trade if you want to give up Mavora.
So, I see. Wow, I'll tell you, this is a good matchup. This is a very good matchup, actually. Now, I think the return of Sammy is going to carry the team to 1 win, but I think your team is too strong, so I think it's going to be a split.
I mean, you know what? I could easily just sit here and say, yeah, we're going to win 2, but the way we've been playing, it's, mostly splits, and, we're going to go out there. We have to have more heart the second game. The first game, too, we can't let these guys, have an inch. They're a very tough team.
Right.
Luckily for us, they're having their pitching situation, so we are not worried about any of them who pitches. If it's Mavora, great. We would love to face him.
I think they pretty made the decision. Salim's the pitcher.
It might be the best bet for them.
Right.
I mean, if he's got them to this record, then you stay with that. But anyone they put in there, we're ready. And we have a very powerful lineup. And like I said, I believe this is going to be the week we're going to break out and show this league how capable we are to score runs.
So, well, they'll certainly solidify that position. I mean, you really, everybody we talk about Magical Mystery Tour, but I mean, they somehow lose a doubleheader.
We're right there with them.
Teams could be ahead of them, so they're, we had them as a lock for the first round, but what is your feeling on the bye week? Would you rather have it, or do you think the week off you lose?
Personally, I don't like it. I mean, but this year more than ever, my team specifically has missed our stars every week.
Right.
It happened to be the bye week. All of my guys would have been there. The bye week I had, they would have all been there. Now everyone's going on these bachelor parties and crazy situations. And
now your bachelor party was in Carteret. You didn't really go that far, right?
Actually, mine was in Sayreville at Delilah's Den, if I'm not mistaken.
Didn't travel far, right?
No. But we did camp out there for the weekend. We had a tent and stayed in Sayreville, right near Hunka Bunka, my old stomping ground. And that was a nice time. Today they go all over the world for these bachelor parties. Dominican Republic. There's tons of these Lot 6 clubs that they go to. I believe Sammy Sutton was highlighted.
The program director in one of them? Or?
No, not the program. The ex-second baseman, ex-dancer.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe him and Caitlyn Jenner were highlighting one of Farca's friends' bachelor party a couple weeks ago.
In the
Dominican, yeah. And, that's just the way things go these days.
Well, apparently, I don't think they were too happy because they left to Miami right after that. So I don't think they were
right. I think from the intel that I got, Sammy's fees for dancing and activity skyrocketed since he left the YMSL, and Farca and his friends didn't want to pay the extra amount to have the favors, we will call them.
Okay, so Sammy Sutton missed immensely in the YMSL.
Yes, immensely.
Like I said, big week this week once again, and Michael, good luck. And thanks again for coming. So we'll see. Though it's really the way it looks now, it's going to be very surprising if we don't have a one-game playoff for us, to get in the way it's looking now.
I agree. There's too many close teams, and every one of us who are stacked in that bunch know that we're, a sweep could be in the end of us. So everyone's going to be fighting for our lives, and somehow, if everybody ends up with the same records, there's going to be a playoff game.
And the crazy thing is, there's going to be a very good team left out. I mean, that's not going to be with it's, who cares, or Norman's team or whatever. There's going to be a team that's going to be very, very good. That's not going to be make the cut, which is going to be.
You know what? Just if I had to guess, just the way the league is going this year, it's going to be the one. This is the guess. The one with the weakest statistical pitcher.
That's why I'm not too keen on the Angels. As good as their team is, I don't like their chances the rest of the way because even though they're going to split probably because they're so strong, I don't know if that's good enough at 8.
Like we said tonight during the show, you need everything this year, and it's the teams with all 3 attributes: the hitting, the fielding, the pitching, that are bunched up at the top.
Right. So, it's very, very difficult to play with a pitcher that's a walking 8-9 guy. It's just on the defense. I don't care if you lob the ball over, they're clocking it because 8 out of 10 times they're going to catch the ball on a fly ball. Those walks are just it's a killer. It's just what it does to the defense is just lackadaisical. Just you're not on your toes.
I got my name, Mount Saban, and my eruptions from the walking of batters. That is probably the thing that drives me as a player, standing closest to the pitcher, and now a captain, that drives me the most insane, especially
the bottom of the order.
The bottom of the order when you're walking 8, 9, 10 batters to let the top of the order up with guys in scoring position. That's when I erupt and the magma is spewing like no other.
Yeah, because
you want to walk Allie Marshall with no one on. I have no problem with that. When you walk A.B. Salem to get to, I'm using my team, but if you walk a number 10 guy to get to the top of the order, he's going to score somehow or another. You're giving away those runs. I think I'd rather see a guy hit a triple
100%.
than a walk.
100%.
At least he hit it, There's nothing you can do.
Errors are going to happen. That is a different story. Errors even, but the walks, it's got to be some sort of statistical thing that they just come back to haunt.
They always come back. Always.
I mean, it's just the defense is helpless.
I know. You know what? A good test, a power hitter, Jimmy, who's hitting, top average in the league this year.
With a very high on base percentage.
Always has a high on base because he's a very patient hitter. I'd be anxious to see if he's a leader in walks, which I bet he would be, and where he is in runs. Yeah. Not just because he gets on base free with a walk, but who's driving him in. And, I would not be shocked if he was leading the league in runs right now.
Well, you also have another guy, Mo Shamwell, another guy, very price selected. I don't think he's ever swung the first pitch in his life. So there's guys that are, just always on base, and it's tough to pitch to those guys.
Very.
So all right, we'll see what happens, and I'm sure you'll have a nice big crowd at your game, and it'll be interesting to see what transpires, and we hope to see you again at the show.
Yep, I will definitely love to come back anytime you need me. I'm always on call. I am away next week scouting the UNLV campuses of Las Vegas.
Oh, beautiful.
For a partial licensing show and scouting trip to the Southeast region. And
so now, is this a little Maya Safdie rubbing off on you, or
no?
Did you get the memo that the Omer is over?
Is it over? I didn't get that memo. No, just a little old salt and pepper look for old time's sake.
That seems to be the new trend now.
Yeah, it's a trendy thing. The bearded, the beard is back, and keep it for a little while.
Very good.
You should try.
I know.
Yeah, you got a little.
It's been 6, 7 days. So it's basically so lazy to
plug in the
So say Bon, we'll see you on Sunday, and the weather continues to be nice every Sunday. So we'll see you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right.